Hey everyone, Michael here today. I hope you're having a wonderful start to the week. Thought I'd jump on here to YouTube and LinkedIn. I think we might be showing up on Facebook on our Consulting Success page as well. I have a few minutes here between meetings and want to share with you an exercise that has helped a lot of people to create more conversations with their ideal clients. But before we do that, I know we have a few people joining us. So when you log in, say hi. And I'd also love to take any questions you have about the consulting business, growing your consulting business, anything really that's meaningful for you, anything that's top of mind for you right now as you think about engaging with clients, as you think about building your consulting business. What is top of mind for you? Just type in the comment box, chat box, whatever you kind of see in front of you, depending on if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn. Hey, Kian, great to see you. Yeah, say hi as well. Always nice to see some familiar faces. But I'd love to. Hey, Chris. Hope you have a good cup of coffee. Great to see you there, Chris. But yeah, let me know what's top of mind, guys. I will share here in a couple of minutes an exercise that can really help you to create more conversations with ideal clients. But before we do that, I see more of you coming on here. Say a quick hi. Let me know what is top of mind for you today. What questions do you have about building your consulting business? And I'd be very happy to share some perspectives, some observations, maybe some insights from data that we've seen or what we are seeing working really well right now with the clients that we work in our Clarity Coaching program and other programs. So let me know. Feel free to type a comment in or ask a question, and I'll just pause here for a moment and see if anyone has any questions. But great to see many of you jumping on here, and I will get into this exercise all about how to create more conversations with your ideal clients in just a moment. But I do want to see if there are any questions. Feel free to type in the chat box there or the comment box. Let me know what is top of mind for you. What would you like to learn more about? What would you like me to do? Another video about what would just be helpful for you? How can I provide value to you and help you to be more successful as a consultant in the consulting business? All right, so we got a question here from Chris: how to sell services when making offers over email. Great question, Chris. And there's a lot that goes into this in terms of it's not just a simple answer, right? Because some markets aren't as call it primed for selling over email as others, and so you want to be careful implementing some of the things you see people doing online, depending on who you're targeting. What I mean by that specifically is you see a lot of people online talk about how you can sell from email or set up all these different kinds of autoresponders or messages or launches and so forth. But if you're targeting a savvy business-to-business buyer or even just an executive who is busy, right, time-starved, and they're not going to make decisions in most cases about a big ticket item, right? So if you're selling something that is, let's say, $1,000, $2,000 or below, then email can work really well. And listen, I know many people who actually can sell, $10,000, $50,000 type of engagements just through email. But when you're targeting a savvy executive, that's not always the best approach. The approach that would be, in most cases, better is to focus on providing value to those people, come at them with new insights, new ideas that you really believe can help them, and push for and work towards setting up a conversation where you can really engage, learn more about their specific situation. But if you're kind of targeting someone at a lower ticket item, or the market that you're going after is more of the small business, not necessarily the executive, then email can work really well. But the key is still about providing value before you go into sell. I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making these days, is to just come out and try and sell, like to try and promote before you've delivered any value. And so the recommendation is to always try and provide value first as much as you can. The more that you do that, I mean, you may not make as many sales right off the bat as if you just tried to transact, but in the long run, your lifetime customer value will increase significantly because you're gaining trust from people. And so yes, it does take a little bit more work, but doing that will really pay off. At least that's been our experience over the last 11 years at Consulting Success, and certainly over the last 20 plus years that I've been running consulting companies, is always focusing on the long term, always focusing on providing value. Really does pay off and help. Let me know, Chris, if that helps, and if that's kind of relevant to the question that you were wondering about. If not, I'll happy to jump back in. All right, hey Mark, great to see you. Vince, what's up? Fantastic to see you here. Jatana as well. All right, other questions, guys. What other questions are top of mind for you today? What would you like to dive into? Client related, proposal, fees, marketing. Let me know what's top of mind for you, and I'll be happy to try and provide some perspective. I will also offer an exercise here in just a moment. Very simple, very straightforward, that I've seen working really well for many of our clients. I want to offer that up here to everyone that's joining in. Hey, Brandy, great to see you. What questions do you guys have, though? I really want to spend a few minutes here answering some more questions. Hey, Josh, great to see you as well. Let me know, guys, what questions you do all have. Just type a comment in. And yeah, so in the meantime, while I'll just kind of jump in and share an opportunity that I think a lot of people neglect or really don't take advantage of, but it can be such a big one in terms of creating more conversations with buyers. So here it is, very simple, very straightforward. The action for you is to make a list of 10 people. Now, these people, the way to think about these 10 people are in two segments, two buckets. The first bucket are those people who you believe that could be your ideal clients, and these are likely going to be people that you have some form of a relationship with already, but someone who you truly feel that you can offer value to. So that's bucket number one. Bucket number two are people who may not be your direct ideal clients, but they could be great referral sources, meaning that they know people that could be your ideal clients. And so if you filter kind of your thoughts or kind of your organization of who these people are into those two buckets and exclude other people, it'll help you get really focused. Now, once you have those two buckets, what you want to do is make a list of 10 top people. And then here's your action for today, for this week. But I would encourage you to do this as soon as possible. And that is simply to send a message to those 10 people. Now, when you send that message to those 10 people, don't try and sell them anything. Don't necessarily even offer them much of anything unless it's just your own sincere help. But ask how they're doing, ask how they are, how their families are, and really just be a human to them. Now, the reason why this works as a great way to start conversations is because so often these days, everyone is inundated with a lot of sales messages and promotional stuff. But when you come at it from a different perspective, where you actually reach out and just say, hey, how are you doing? How's your family? Hope you're all well. That kind of catches people off guard. It's like a breath of fresh air where they really appreciate that you've thought of them, that you're thinking about their family, that you're just asking how they're doing. And because of that, they're more likely to respond. Now, when they respond, now you have an opportunity for a natural transition to ask a little bit more about how they're doing, right? What's new in their world? What are they working on? Maybe even offer to share a case study or tell them what you've been doing. And so that now creates an opportunity to have a truly meaningful conversation, but you're not coming at it from a place where a lot of people feel uncomfortable. It's like, I don't want to interrupt people. I don't want to just jump in and start talking about what I'm doing. So focusing first on them. Now, again, this is related to people or connected to people that you already have a relationship with, not about kind of brand new, cold prospective clients. These are people that you have some form of a connection with. Maybe you met them at a trade show. Remember those things way back before COVID, or you were in some kind of an online workshop with, or some kind of group, or whatever it might be, a past client, but someone you have a relationship with. And so the two groups here are people that could be direct ideal clients, as well as those can be ideal referral sources. Reach out to 10 or more of those people here today. Shoot them a quick message. It does not take a lot of time, but you may be very surprised at the kind of response that you get and how that can naturally transition into a more meaningful conversation. All right, so that was what I want to share with you guys here today. Now I've got a few more questions coming in. Troy, great to see you. All right, so Troy, you're asking, let me just put your question is there a good rule of thumb on % of your time you should spend on content creation? Fantastic question, Troy. And so here's how I would think about this. The amount of time that you should spend on content creation will change depending on what stage your business is at, right? So think about this in terms of if you are earlier stage in your marketing. So not necessarily, you may be consulting for 10 years, but if you're newer in your marketing, then you're going to want to spend more of your time early on in doing what we call direct outreach, which is getting in front of your ideal clients directly over content creation. Why? Well, it's because content creation works exceptionally well, but it takes a long time or longer, right? You might write a piece of content today, put it out there, but it doesn't mean that your ideal clients are going to come to you when they see one piece of content. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get in front of the right people. Whereas with direct outreach, you can literally go onto LinkedIn or access a list and just reach out to that ideal client today, right? And already get on their radar. So you can be very targeted, which is why earlier on you want to spend the majority of your time, so let's just call it like 70% of your time doing direct outreach, 30% of your marketing time on content, because content is a long-term play. You want to start it as soon as possible, but you don't want to spend too much time, because if you only do content right now, you might, it might take many months before you actually start building a pipeline. And so, think about it that they start off kind of at the same, it's hard to do without drawing it, but think they're kind of starting off at the same place. And as they move forward, right, you're going to be doing more direct outreach, less content over time, right? This is going to go down, and your content will actually end up increasing, meaning that you'll be able to spend more time on content creation once you already have a pipeline being generated. Because now you don't have to spend as much time or worry about doing direct outreach to create a pipeline, because that pipeline is already built. You have some projects, you have some clients, you have already people that you're communicating with and looking to move forward. That's now a great time to start doing a lot more content creation. And then you get to the place where people ultimately want to be, which is that you are able to spend all of your time on content creation and almost none of it on direct outreach. You're doing follow-up, of course, but you're doing content creation and not as much direct outreach. And you can do that when you actually have a pipeline of business. So Troy, hope that helps. Great seeing you here. And yes, my family, kids are, and everyone is doing well. Thank you so much. Hope everyone in your world is safe and healthy as well. All right, let's see here. Any other questions? Okay, here. Kian, you're saying your second, let me see, Jatana's comment. Best way to reach clients who have very little time. Okay, sorry, Jatana, I did not see your question. So best way to reach clients, let me just pull this up here. So Kian, so you're asking, best way to reach clients who have very little time. I think most people have very little time. And so the best way to reach people is going to depend on who they are, right? And the format. So what I mean by that is, if you're targeting, for example, a very busy executive in a large organization, what you do might be different than if you're targeting someone, let's say, that is the founder of a startup, right? You have different channels that you can access the founder of a startup versus getting through gatekeepers and an organization at a much larger business, right? Therefore, it's going to be different. But what is the same, regardless of who the person is the mindset that you want to adopt when you go into it, right? Which is, don't think about outreach, don't think about marketing or client acquisition as like a home run activity. Meaning, if I use a baseball analogy, don't think about it in terms of getting up to the plate and just trying to hit a home run, right? Because most often you will strike out. That's just the law of averages, right? Or the law that's math. When you look at baseball, right? If you're hitting 30% of the time, you're almost Hall of Fame. Like that's really, really good. Well, what happens in business and marketing, right, for many consultants, is they have this mindset where they're going to just try something. It doesn't work for them right away, and then they think that something is wrong with what they're doing, when the reality is there's nothing necessarily wrong, or maybe it's not as good as it could be, but they haven't given it enough time. And so it's really important that you bring this mindset and embrace this mindset of building relationships and adding value for your ideal clients. And then it doesn't matter as much what the channel is. That'll be very specific. If I knew your specific situation, Jatana, I would be able to probably provide a more detailed answer, or hopefully a more valuable answer. But without knowing that, it's hard to say, like, yeah, use this channel, use this channel. I mean, typically LinkedIn can be really good. Phone can be really good. Sending direct mail can be great. There's lots of different things that you can do, but it all depends on what your strengths are. What can you really lean into, and then who your ideal client is, because the platform then can shift and change. Hope that helps, Jatana. All right, question here from Jas. Question is, how often should you send out newsletters? Great question. And again, there's no one way to do this, right? I know people who send out literally a daily newsletter type of email to their list. And it works really well for them. They get great feedback on it, right? It's good for their business. It's good for building relationships. Some people look at that and go, like, every single day? Are you crazy? Like, why would you do that? That's overkill, right? Aren't you gonna, isn't that gonna overload your clients and your list? And the answer is no, because if you're providing value to those people, they're gonna want to hear from you. And so the answer here, the real way to think about this is, it's not so much about how often. I would say the minimum should be once a month. But you could do something once a week. You could do something a few times a week. What really matters is that you are providing value to people. And if you just think about that, like, some people say, people don't have long attention spans anymore, and they're not going to read something, so make it really short. And yes, that's true. However, people decide to read 300, 400, 500 page novels or books or biographies. I love reading. Like you can see the bookshelf behind me. So I spend a lot of time reading. The thing is that I read what I find to be valuable, what I enjoy. And so if you could provide value to the people that you are, sending this newsletter to, they're likely going to be very happy to hear from you as often as you can produce it. But it has to be valuable for them. Otherwise, they're not going to want to hear from you. But if I just talk about kind of the averages, most people, I would say, send something somewhere between once a week and once a month. But I would not wait longer than once a month. Personally, I think that's too long. Hope that helps, Jess. All right, question here from Brandy. As a new consultant, what are the first things to focus on to build my business and land my first client? All right, so here's kind of the foundation, Brandy. And if you want to reach out or hop over to the site consultingsuccess.com, we have a lot of resources, a lot of very in-depth articles that kind of take you through this. One specifically about how to start a consulting business. I would highly recommend that you go through that because it'll take you into much more detail beyond what I'm just going to share here in a few seconds, which is number one, get very, very clear about who your ideal client is. Number two, get clear on your messaging. How can you get their attention and their interest? What message can you develop that will truly resonate with them and want them to, or have them wanting to reach out to you and learn more? And then the third thing is start to get in front of these people consistently, right? With ideally providing value, insights, ideas for them so that they really, you become visible, but they also start to see you as an authority and expert in their mind. So number one, get very, very clear about who your ideal client is. Number two, develop a message. We call it a magnetic message that will really get their attention and their interest. And then make sure you start taking action to get in front of them. Again, a lot of different ways to approach these, and you can go a lot more detail into these. I would recommend that you check out the article we have on consultingsuccess.com. I think it might be consultingsuccess.com/start a consulting business or something like that. But if you go to our website, you'll find that article. It's totally free, but it goes into a lot more detail. And for anyone who's new to consulting, I think that would be a great place to start. Hope that helps, Brandy. All right. Let's see, guys. Any other questions? Hey, Louis. Nice to see you here. Any other questions, guys? I'm going to have to hop off in just a minute or two. But if there's any final questions, happy to try and provide some perspective here. So wonderful, guys, to have you on here. I just had a few minutes between meetings. I thought I'd jump on. And I'd like to do more of this. So let me know, either send a message to me on through LinkedIn or type a comment here so I can see it afterwards, or just get in touch with us at consultingsuccess.com to let me know what topics are you interested in learning more about, so that as I do more of these lives and just more content that we're developing, different studies, that can just be relevant for you. All right, so hey, Catherine, your question is, what are some worst practices that you see consultants making in their marketing? Yeah, there's definitely a few of these. One is kind of what I alluded to earlier, which is people going too direct in terms of just promoting what they have to offer right off the bat without first providing value. I think that's a big no-no. The other is people viewing marketing and sales as transaction, not as relationship. And in certain industries, or if you're selling like if you're selling cell phones or if you're selling pens or whatever, right? You can think transactional. You can just think about how do I just, generate a sale, blah, blah, blah. But if you're in the world of consulting and advisory services and executive coaching and all that kind of stuff, where it's really about long-term relationships and long-term value, then I always really try and encourage people to focus on the relationship and the long-term kind of mindset as opposed to transactions and short-term, because when you think transaction, it guides your marketing in the wrong direction. It makes you decide things or kind of take decisions that aren't necessarily in the best interest of the business and the brand long-term. And so that would be, definitely a big one. I would say, again, focus on value. So what people shouldn't do is, just focus on promotion, but rather focus a lot more on giving value first. And then the other one, really, I guess is connected to that, but yeah, just thinking more transactionally and not relationship or not long-term. So those are two big ones, Catherine, that come up. There's certainly a lot of others. I see people who, with their messaging, where their messaging is far too broad, or their ideal client, they're not clear on that. So there's a lot of, every area of building a successful consulting business, there's common mistakes or common errors or oversights that people have. But those are a few bigger picture ones that I think are important for all consultants. So I hope that helps, Catherine. Hey, Brandy, thank you. I'm so glad you love the podcast. Really appreciate you sharing that, and please continue listening, and certainly let us know if there's any guest that you think, any consultant or just someone in the space that you'd like us to interview. Always happy to hear about that, and as well any other ideas that you all have for these sessions. Just reach out, type a comment in below here, either if you're in Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, type a comment in, let me know. And please also hit the like button if you're on YouTube, subscribe so that you can then be notified when new videos come out. We've also been putting a lot more content onto YouTube, and if you subscribe on YouTube, you'll be notified, or just follow along here on LinkedIn, or send me a connection request on LinkedIn, or if you're on Facebook, just do whatever Facebook asks you to do. I don't know, to get notified. I don't spend as much time on Facebook these days, guys, but certainly if you shoot me a message there, I should see it. So again, thank you all so much. Jonathan's awesome. Definitely, Catherine. Thanks, guys, for jumping on here today. Appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and look forward to hearing from you. If you have, again, any questions, if you're looking for any kind of support or resources to help you with your consulting business, just go to consultingsuccess.com, get in touch. We're always happy to help. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.